So we knew that we would see the bad side of the light in this expansion, but we didn't know it would happen from the start, as the light army has gotten absolutely crazy as we had seen so far in the Midnight Beta. I'm talking completely disrespecting and disregarding the Blood Elven leaders, but it has gotten so bad that they started like literally just taking Blood Elven property, and even worse, they started straight out just arresting prominent Blood Elves on their own authority, completely disregarding Lor'themar's demands to release them. Silvermoon is now only 1/3 horde, and the citizens are already saying that these guys are as bad as the scourge, and some are even contemplating abandoning the light for good. So what is going on? What has gotten into the light army, and have they really just straight out occupied Silvermoon? While having the best deals on the market for all games and software, Gamivo just added mobile top-ups for your favorite mobile games with the best prices that you can get with my Gamivo link in the description below. Best of all, if you use my code DORON, your discount will be even bigger, so make sure to use my link in the description and the code and check out Gamivo. So, remember the opening cinematic when we had seen the Army of the Light being summoned, and we saw it as a bit of like a clutch moment, saving the Blood Elves in the last second by this noble army? Well, while that was true to an extent, looks like the situation is a little bit more complicated. We first didn't even really know who this was, like we would believe that this is the Light Army, like the Light Arati Emperor army, and then we learned it is actually the Army of the Light, and now we discovered that Liadrin's appeal to the light caused a projection, which caused a lot of light worshippers to take up the call to arms to defend the Sarwell, but the army led by Turelian is actually called the Vanguard of the Light. It's also the light army we had seen before in Legion, but combined with paladins and priests from across the world that were teleported to the sun. Long story short, a lot of these guys are not very nice, and it is getting more and more evident by the day. If you're a history buff, it kind of feels like the Crusades into the Byzantine Empire. Now, it was actually evident from the start that there will be a little bit of friction, like some cause for future faction conflict, and originally Blizzard told us that Silvermoon will be 2/3 horde and 1/3 neutral, but turns out it's actually the other way around, and we are figuring out all of this right now as we got the opening scenario and a lot of progress in Midnight. Let's just say that the situation is really getting out of hand, and the light army is getting tyrannical right out the gate, and it's not even like subtly tyrannical at all. Like the elves are literally thinking that they want to abandon the light, and a lot of citizens are getting really rebellious. So the bad blood starts almost immediately with the opening of Midnight between Lor'themar and Turelian, especially in the opening battle when Lor'themar wants to focus on saving civilians from the Void Invasion, while Turelian in a way calls him a coward for not fighting more. Turelian here even gets into an argument with his son Arator. It is clear from the start that these light guys really don't respect Lor'themar and the Blood Elven sovereignty, and they're acting accordingly, like saying things like how the light only guides them. In a way, they kind of see them as inferior, as they have to be the ones to defend them and they only follow the light. Now, this is actually true to an extent. I mean, these people are risking their lives, but it really appears that they're not the heroes we thought they were, as they're not really risking their lives to save the Blood Elven people and Quotalas, but they're just following the call of the light to battle the void. As you may know, cosmologically, the light has always battled the void. They have been the biggest arch enemies in the entire universe, and they fight at every chance they get. This time, it is actually no different. It's just the Blood Elves are kinda caught in the middle as collateral damage, and it is evident that this strife is only going to expand further and further. This is not even my speculation, like, it's literally getting this bad, and let me just give you a few scenarios that we have discovered so far in the beta. So, aside from the fact that Turelian himself just constantly disagrees with Lor'themar, who is their host and the leader of the Quotalas, like the entire place, even the light army higher-ups are being incredibly disrespectful. I mean, they completely dismiss his authority. This light army leader, literally after having a disagreement with Lor'themar, immediately, like after getting out of earsight from him, just tells his troops to take any weapons they find and see fit to the Sunwell that are not nailed down, like pretending he has absolutely zero authority. Aside from the disrespect though, they're literally even policing themselves within Quotalas, and they start arresting elves without even consulting with Lor'themar. For example, while Umbric was trying to get calculations for the Void Storm from around the Sunwell, the Light Army literally arrests him on their own authority, with Lor'themar demanding his release, but they have zero care for his demands. Other than this, they made Silvermoon their home base, and it really does appear that the Alliance part, like the neutral part, is really old funneled through the Army of the Light, so that is how the Alliance got access to the Blood Elven capital. As a lot of people were shocked initially, most of Silvermoon is actually neutral, so 2/3 of the city are accessible to the Alliance. Of course, keep in mind the city has been significantly enlarged, all that ruined parts from before have been fixed, so Silvermoon is completely different, but still, the Blood Elves barely have any control over their own capital. Now, this resentment and occupation can even be seen from regular citizens. As I said, they had also arrested other Blood Elves for their own reasons, not just Unbreak, and some citizens literally say that the presence of the Vanguard of the Light oddly reminds them of when Arthas took control of the city when he marched in with the Scourge. Obviously, a little bit of an exaggeration, but it is very clear that they detest the Army of the Light, and it's not just playful banter. Some Blood Elves like Alastor Bloodsworn, who, by the way, was an actual advisor to Prince Keltas himself, he is the guy that literally co-founded the Blood Knight Order. In a way, he created the Blood Elven Paladins. He starts detesting the Light and says that the Elves should abandon it entirely and that they should seek more potent and alternate power sources. So far, while the Blood Elven Kingdom is completely vulnerable from the attack of the Void, which is absolutely massive, and keep in mind, I mean, the Void is not after the Blood Elves, they just decided to use this point on Azeroth as the entry point because of the Sunwell, but they're not after the Elves, so this defense is not really the defense of just Quel'Thalas, but the defense of Azeroth as a whole, as we know that Xal'atath is really after the World Soul itself. However, the Light does see itself as the defenders, but not just of Azeroth, but of Light itself, and they're really taking orders from the cosmological Light. They are so far disregarding everything that is happening in Quel'Thalas. As we can see, not only does the leader himself, Turellian, constantly disregard everything Lor'themar says, but a lot of the Army of the Light is just acting like bandits. They're arresting Blood Elves on their own authority, causing serious resentment from the local populace. Keep in mind, I mean, some parts of the Army of the Light, like Traxian, had gotten even more fanatical. They even turned on the Light Army itself, although I think there are a bit more things here at play here, maybe something with the Dreadlords. I have a full video on this, but it does look like the old theory of the Light bad might not actually be that far from the truth. I mean, we know that we would see the bad side of the Light in this expansion. Blizzard told us about this ages ago, but looks like it's happening right from the start. There are also other hints for future faction conflict, so it's the Alliance, the Light Army, and the Void that is turning against the Blood Elves, in a way putting them in a really bad spot. Of course, we will see how the situation develops, but I mean, the Light is already tyrannical, like right out of the gate from the start, and I feel like it is only going to get worse, much worse as the time goes by, and who knows what is going to happen by the end of Midnight. I don't think Silvermoon is really going to remain neutral for long. Thanks for watching. Check out the new zone that was just added to Quel'Thalas, which could indicate something in the future could be happening in this place in Midnight by clicking on the screen. And also check out my video on Greek mythology and the Titans that I've recorded live on site in Italy by clicking on the screen as well. See you next time.